In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the secret to success that I teach my clients that has allowed them to radically change their lives. My name is DEMOND Logan. I'm an executive high performance coach specializing in mindset transformations for professionals looking to elevate their impact. Now, I've worked with I've worked with countless clients, starting from the beginning entrepreneur all the way to 8-figure business owners. And what I want to teach you in this video is the secret that I teach them that has allowed them to change and revolutionize their lives, in their business, so much so that together I've allowed them in the last 12 months, generate just over $12.4 million in value add put on the books. Right now, let's go, let's cook. When we break down this secret, it's very simple, but it was actually based on a scripture that I read in the Bible. I'm Christian, as you will always know, and I like to take principles and understand them and break them and see how we can actually integrate them into our actual life. So the scripture that I'm going to use as a reference point in this particular video is Romans 12:1. Now I'm reading it for you in the English Standard Version. So here we go. It is, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Now, the interesting part about this that I really want to have an emphasis on is the concept of a living sacrifice. Now, at that time, from a biblical perspective, it was a very radical idea because the concept of sacrifices were dead offerings that they placed on an altar, and to have become a living sacrifice was a mind-blowing idea at the time. But I'm going to talk to you in this video and show you how we can take those pieces and put them together and actually change our lives for the better forever. And my clients are the receipts. So here we go. First things first is that I want to talk about that circumstance versus sacrifice. Most people go through life believing that the circumstances that they're in, the hardships that they're facing, that life is just throwing at them, is the same as sacrifice. That because you are living through that, you should be in a position where you deserve more. And that's just simply not the case. So you have to understand that circumstance is not sacrifice, right? And that what I want to talk about in this is understanding that when we talk about circumstances not sacrifice, we're talking that hardship itself that you're going to get hit with in life is not the same as a sacrifice that you're making. So because sacrifice within itself is a choice, right? You have to say that I could have this thing, but I am choosing to give this thing up. I am choosing to let it go. But if I wanted to, right now, I could just have it, but I'm choosing to let it go because I'm going to sacrifice that for something else that I deem more valuable and great, right? So when we understand is that once you start to tap into the concept of this you start to have awareness of the idea of sacrifice, then you are now just touching the surface, but starting to implement a catalyst for change. Now, that catalyst for change really starts to develop when we come into this first part of this two-categorical understanding of sacrifice. And that first part is the entry point. The very beginning is making a willing sacrifice, right? So what I mean when I say willing sacrifice is that willing sacrifices are the benchmarks, right? That is the thing that you have chosen to sacrifice for. So there's a measure of strategy, there's a measure of understanding of what is required of the sacrifice to actually accomplish that thing, right? And we have to understand that you are choosing to surrender. You are giving up what you did not have to for that thing that you see that's literally right there in front of you. Now, when we bring this into perspective, we understand that willing sacrifices. Now, before I go further, let me jump back for a second. One thing that I teach clients all the time is that when I talk about goals, that people always look as goals as destinations and not understanding that the highest value goal that you can have is actually a direction, right? So that's why I talked about high value goals, low value goals, right? And that there's the difference between benchmarks and directions. So making a willing sacrifice for a thing is understanding that in this context, a willing sacrifice is a benchmark. It is the thing that you are sacrificing for. It is a willing sacrifice that creates a destination you can reach and measure, right? So we talk about SMART goals, you talk about all this. When you're going through this process, you are making a willing sacrifice for the thing you are in pursuit of. Once we start to get to the concept that these benchmarks are destinations, but when you want to get into a place where you want to see your goals as direction, then you have to now evolve that willing sacrifice to the second categorical principle of sacrifice. And that is what I referred to you when we talked in the very beginning about Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Now we come into this part of what Romans 12:1 talked about, and that is becoming a living sacrifice, right? A living sacrifice is when your destination goal, your benchmark, your willing sacrifice becomes the direction. Because now it becomes an embodiment. See, sacrifice is no longer something that you do. It now becomes who you are because you are a living sacrifice. It is your existence here, right? Then we come into the part where we understand that now this is your life as a journey. This is how you think. This is how you act. This is how you respond. This is how you incorporate. This is how you live every aspect and every facet of your life as a living sacrifice. Now, what this becomes is that this starts to shift your life into a concept of a clear direction. You have a direction now that you're going to that has no stop point because it is who you are in its very fabric in every way. So when we talk about this, this is what allows my clients to be able to transition from just being on a point as they're a person who execute goals rigorously, relentlessly, without any pause or slowing down, to actually moving to a point where now they establish legacy. Because legacy is the product of the life you have lived, the life of who you are, and what your existence says about who you are is your legacy. And when you are living, become a living sacrifice. A living sacrifice. Every part of your fiber is now every piece of your fiber is locked in right now. And what I mean when I say that is that you cannot exist any other way. You cannot. It's the same concept that I've heard coaches say that, that those that are good train till they get it right. But those who are truly great train till they can't get it wrong. That is an evolution from making a willing sacrifice to just accomplish a goal to become a living sacrifice where your life itself is just a righteous sacrifice and there is no other path for you because you can't see your life and your existence in any other kind of way. Now, the other piece to this reminds me of another scripture I want to read out to you right now. It's actually James chapter 1 verse 8, and it's out of the King James Version, and it says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." Now, the big part about this is that you cannot make a willing sacrifice if you're double-minded, meaning you're going back and forth, because you can't be halfway in, sacrifice because I got a hard life and sacrifices happening, I should be getting these things, or and then halfway in that I'm going to make a willing sacrifice, or I'm going to live my life this way with this discipline and accomplish this goal. You can't be half one and half the other. You have to fully commit, meaning that there is no level of sacrifice that you can make without a singular focus and a commitment to it. Most entrepreneurs, most business professionals that are not successful is because they are double-minded and their actions do not have enough consistency in its application to actually get somewhere. And when you're able to make a willing sacrifice, you can accomplish amazing goals. But when you accomplish that goal, you stop. But when you become a living sacrifice, this is just who you are, and your progress is infinite. Your impact is infinite. And that's what I want you to learn. So I want you right now to canvas your life, and I want you to put in the comments, where are you going to start with your willing sacrifice, right? I want you to say, I'm going to make a willing sacrifice with this for that. Then I want you to say, I am going to become a living sacrifice by becoming a person who every day of my life does this. Put it in the comments, tell us, let us know. And what I also want you to have right here, I have something for you. And that is, I want you to understand that circumstances will never transform your life. Willing sacrifices will transform your life. Becoming a living sacrifice will transform your legacy. And I want you to never forget that. And so here's the thing for you. I have another video that if you want to go deeper, I want you to go on to YouTube and tap on my video. It says the secret reasons leaders fail under pressure. The secret reasons leaders fail under pressure. Go there, watch that, and learn about the emotional controls and calibers that you have to be able to have in place to take this process forward, because that video will give you context as you go through this willing sacrifice and living sacrifice process. So as always, I want you to win, I want you to develop, and I want you to always remember under any circumstance, no matter what it is, under any circumstance, every challenge, every obstacle that you face can be, that you can overcome it, and you can always win, and you can break down any barrier if you're willing to develop. You can develop past any obstacle. So this is about you. Hope this video was of value to you, because I know it's been changing my clients' lives, and I would love to hear your story and see that for you. So let's go.